In fact, a follow-up segment tonight, the nation's most populated state, California, has not yet legalized marijuana, but really they have. If you look in the back of alternative newspapers, there are scores of ads for medical marijuana, some featuring scantily clad young women promoting all kinds of pot bargains. As we told you early on, this medical marijuana thing, a complete ruse. Joining us now from Boston, Dr. Kevin Sabet, author of the book Reefer Sanity, 7 Great Myths About Marijuana. So, Doctor, you worked for President Obama, and you advised him, his administration, on drug policy. So we have 2 states have legalized pot now. 18 members of Congress are asking President Obama to remove marijuana from federal government's list of dangerous drugs. Give me an overall assessment of what's happening.
Well, I mean, this small group in Congress is really repeating the false and evidence-less talking points of a special interest marijuana lobby that frankly stands to make millions if marijuana is fully legal across the United States. I mean, this is a lobby that's taken the pages out of the big tobacco playbook, if you ask me.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made. We're seeing that in Denver right now. But you know, they all say, well, we got alcohol here. Why not marijuana? It's not bad. It's, you know, you can function on it. How do you reply to that?
Well, I mean, look, alcohol is legal for cultural reasons. It's not legal because it's great for your health. Although we do know that marijuana is not as embedded in our culture as alcohol is. And frankly, alcohol and our legal policies on alcohol, tobacco, and frankly, prescription drugs have led to a massive lobby that lives off of addiction for profit. The question is, you know, do we now want to add another list to that list of legal drugs? And the science, I mean, we can't have a debate on the science. The science is in. Marijuana is addictive. It's about as addictive as alcohol. And for kids, 1 out of every 6 kids who smoke marijuana at age 16 will become addicted. And, you know, that has huge implications for IQ.
Listen, I couldn't agree with you more. As a former teacher, high school teacher, I know what it does.
Right.
Once a kid starts into any drug, the childhood is over and all of that. Now, in Europe, Portugal, for example, has legalized marijuana. What's happened over there?
Well, they haven't fully legalized it. It's actually really, the issue is for the personal use of low-level amounts of any drug, not just marijuana. Rather than be referred to a criminal system, you're referred to this panel of sort of 3 social workers that determine if you need treatment or a fine or whatnot. And the issue is, I mean, drug use has increased since that's happened since 2001. They have not seen the reductions in crime that they were hoping for. Frankly, there has been a message that has been sent that, you know, low levels of drug use is okay. Of all drugs, by the way, not marijuana.
So Portugal's use of drugs has risen in the face of this decriminalization. In Holland,
no doubt about it.
If anybody has traveled to Amsterdam, they know what that is. It's a free fire zone for a lot of drugs, but marijuana, hashish in particular. What's happened over there?
Well, marijuana use has tripled among young adults since the time that they really commercialized it like we are now in Colorado and Washington. And actually, though, lately they've been scaling back their policy. The government actually doesn't like it. It's a public nuisance to have these coffee shops that attracts all kinds of tourists, kind of tourists that they don't want. So they're actually closing down coffee shops and finding out that now the Netherlands is just about the #1 country in Europe that has to demand more marijuana treatment because there are actually more people with problems in the Netherlands than almost any other country in Europe because of this.
So what I hear you saying, though, is if, as we said in L.A. and in California, it's de facto legalized now with this ridiculous medical marijuana ruse. So we're going to see at the polls say most Americans want legalized marijuana, at least decriminalized. You say that once that happens, as it has happened in Washington State and Colorado, we're going to see then marijuana addiction, treatment for it, rise in a very troubling way. That's your prediction?
No doubt about it. Look, I don't think anybody wants to throw people in prison for low-level amounts of use. That's not what legalization is about, though. It's about creating an industry whose business it is to increase addiction. So if your business model is you have to increase addiction, then that's going to happen. And let me tell you, already after this first month in Colorado, things aren't going well. Kids are going to the ER for ingesting pot cookies and candies and edibles. Actually, that ad you showed in California, as ridiculous as it was, is almost nothing compared to the ads that are in newspapers, not alternative, but regular newspapers in Colorado.
And the Denver Post,
yeah, I mean, this has been normalized.
The Denver Post is promoting it. They have a pot columnist and what's good and what's bad. I mean, that newspaper is disgraceful.
There's a lot of money to be made. Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made by people.
All right, Doctor, we appreciate your point of view.